The virus mutations and the pandemic surges around the world never seem to come to an end. The more and more diagnoses and cure medications are being discovered, the more and more virus mutates and replicates. This is driving the countries to the peak of the pandemic, and doctors are now referring the situations to a COVID tsunami, and that's not an exaggeration when looking at the death tolls and the patients' counts. On the other hand, scientists and pharma companies are trying whatever they can to detect the virus and protect from the virus. Not even a single route is left untrodden. Scientists are working on all the possible ways to defeat the virus. A best example for this is recently come to the light, a method of using bees to detect the Covid-19 strains. Yes, you heard right, the insects, bees. But how? Let's see. Hello and welcome to SIAW, Science in a Wrap, and I am Sai Saran. This is a new rapid test method now being discovered by the Dutch researchers. As per their reports, they are training the honeybees to stick out their tongues when presented with the virus's unique scent. Obviously, this is a less conventional method in compared to the lab tests, but scientists say that this could be an alternative method for the low-income countries which lack the sophisticated testing equipments like materials for polymerase chain reaction tests. Here I'll quote what Professor Wim van der Poel, who serves at Wageningen University, which leads the research, says. Not all laboratories have that, especially in smaller income countries, but bees are everywhere and the apparatus is not very complicated. So let's see how they are training these bees. The scientists say that they have trained roughly 150 bees with the Pavlovian conditioning method, in which they gave the insects a sugar water solution each time they were exposed to the smell of the COVID virus. And when the bees were presented with a sample without the virus smell, the sugar solution was not given. After repeatedly extending their tongues for the sugar water, the bees learned to stick out their tongues, technically proboscis, for a positive sample even if no reward offered. Within hours, the insects were trained to identify the virus just a few seconds after encountering it. Van der Poel further says that the scientists believe they can achieve about 95% accuracy rate if they use multiple insects to sniff each sample. But these experimental results are not yet been published. Here I quote his words, "Our first goal was to demonstrate that we could train bees to do this, and that's where we succeeded. Now we are calculating and we are continuing the work to see how sensitive the method is." Basically, the idea for the research sprang from the founders of Dutch insect technology startup Insect Sense. They had previously used bees to detect mineral ore and landmines. They, together with the university researchers, are now working on these experiments. Moreover, scientists also use a special method to train the insects. Each time the scientists wanted to train a new set of bees, they used a refrigerator or the natural external temperature to cool them down and make them less active. Then they put the bees in harnesses so they would stay still while confronted with the samples. The samples consist of the respiratory materials of the patients from a nasal swab mixed with chemicals. The bees smelled samples from both minks and humans and were similarly good at identifying the virus in both situations. Insect Sense is further working on a machine that could train multiple bees simultaneously to make the diagnosis, as well as a biochip that would use genes from the cells that bees smell with to detect the virus. If this is going to work, it can be very fast, very cheap, and that would be very convenient for the scientists. While researchers are also examining whether dogs could be used to detect the coronavirus, Van der Poel said he thought scientists could more easily test samples with several bees than several dogs because of the easiness of handling of bees. A study published by the University of Pennsylvania last month also had suggested that dogs can detect the coronavirus with 96% accuracy. In addition to identifying diseases, animals including dogs, wasps, and grasshoppers have long been used to detect explosives. Researchers of the US Department of Defense introduced this concept in the late 1990s and named it as insect sniffing. Hope you like this video. Give us your feedbacks in the comment section. Please do subscribe our channel and stay tuned with us. Stay safe, stay happy, stay updated.